Welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory Update 5. I believe we're on episode number 12, and in this episode we're going to be diving into Tier 6. And we have 4 different tiers to unlock there, so sit back, relax, and let's jump into it. So the first thing we need to do is come up with our plan of attack for how we're going to be dealing with Tier 6. So here is the 4 areas, the milestones that we need to complete for Tier 6. The first one is expanded power infrastructure. What is this going to get us? This is going to get us fuel generators, Mark IV conveyors, Mark IV elevators, and also the ability to be able to scan for Caterium ore. Well, we can already scan for Caterium ore, so I'm not entirely sure how that is an upgrade, but it is what it is. To get this milestone, we need, of course, heavy modular frames, which we took care of in the last episode. And we need to build computers, which we are not manufacturing yet, so we're going to have to come up with a manufacturing system for computers. We already have the encased industrial beams, and we already have rubber in production, so those I'm not worried about. Jetpacks is another milestone that we get that we will end up getting an inventory slot with, as well as the jetpack. This here requires motors, plastic, rubber, and then packaged fuel that we'll need to get into as well. Next is Monorail Train Technology, and there's all kinds of things that we get with Monorail Technology. All of this, of course, is linked to the monorail system and another means to transport items throughout the map. This requires, of course, the computers, the heavy modular frames, steel beams, and steel pipe. Well, the only thing that we need to obviously figure out here is the computers, same as doing the expanded power infrastructure. And finally, there is Pipeline Engineering Mk2, which gets us Mk2 pipes, as well as pipeline pumps Mark II as well. This requires copper sheeting, plastic, rubber, and heavy modular frames. So the first one I think we're going to take care of is Pipeline Engineering Mark II. And the reason for this is we're already manufacturing all this. So I'm going to gather up these materials and then we're going to turn this in. Alright, so I've gathered up the supplies we need for Pipeline Engineering Mark II. Let's select this milestone. We're sending off 1,000 of the copper sheeting. We're sending off 400 plastic. We're sending off 400 rubber. And we're sending off 50 heavy modular frames. Launch away.
Milestone reached. Improved pipelines and pumps can now be constructed, capable of handling increased throughput of any fluid, as well as providing increased pressure handling for better vertical transport, respectively.
Alrighty, so what did we get out of that? Let's have a look in here. So if we go under logistics, we have our new Mark II pipes. Mark II pipes are capable of doing 600 cubic meters of fluid per minute. Where the Mark 1s were only capable of doing 300, so we've doubled our fluid capacity. And then we have the pipeline pumps Mark II. This gives us a head lift of 50 meters versus the 20 meter head lift we had off the Mark 1. So that means with one of these pumps we could push fluids vertically up to 50 meters. So that's a significant upgrade there to being able to move our fluids around. So now it's time to figure out what our next step is. So we've got that sent off. It's on our way. Well, it seems like probably the most common thing that I'm seeing that we need to figure out how to manufacture is going to be the computers. Now, obviously, this is going to come along with one of those manufacturers that we've got to put down. So let's go into production. Let's select a manufacturer. And I don't have enough materials on me to put this down, so I'm going to gather up the materials and then we're going to figure out what all we need. Alright, so I've gathered up the materials I need to be able to make this manufacturer. Let's just find a spot here. I'm going to put it like right close to our other manufacturer to try to keep these all in line. get it to line up. Click, there we go. We've got it placed down here. So what do we be able to need to be able to make this is we need 10 circuit boards. Sorry, a total of 25 circuit boards per minute. We need 22.5 cables per minute. We need 45 plastic per minute. And we need 130 screws per minute. None of this is really an issue other than circuit boards. We're not actively making circuit boards at the minute. So we need to figure out, okay, what is needed to make a circuit board. So let's have a look at an assembler and see if they show up in the assembler. So if we're looking at the assembler here, circuit board, here they are, right here. What does it require? It requires 2 copper sheets per minute and 15 copper sheets per minute. It's to make one of them, it requires 2 copper and 4 plastic. And that is what it takes to make one circuit. But this will do 7.5 circuit boards per minute. So we got to bring over some copper sheeting and we need to bring down some plastic for this. So that's what we need to be able to feed back into here. So we just have to find a nice home for this. So let's get circuit board manufacturing happening. So I'm going to get a line. I'm probably going to set it up right around here and then bring a copper sheeting feed over. And our plastics from up there we'll bring down and we'll get this set up right here. Okay, I have built our circuit board manufacturing. I basically taken a conveyor over from our copper sheeting over there. Just ran some Mark III conveyors over here. I don't care how fast it gets here. Basically just load it up. If it ends up sitting and waiting, it's not the end of the world if it's waiting. In fact, at least it'll always be here ready to go. Because this is only going to take 30 plastic per minute and 15 copper sheets per minute to make 7.5 of the circuit boards per minute. And they're going to fire out of this machine and they're going to get thrown into this storage unit. Then from this storage unit is where we will end up having to feed it in here. Now, how many of the circuit boards? We need 25 per minute of the circuit boards. I might expand this out here a little bit. Now that I see what all it's going to take, I might actually put down like 4 of these, and that'll get us closer to what we need. So I'm going to expand this out so we get closer to that 100% optimization for making our circuit boards. Okay, this has been a little bit of a process to get this all set up and configured and working properly here. So basically, I am taking a plastic feed from our refineries up here, and we are running down here with our plastic, and it is dropping down on an elevator, and then it feeds into this lower manifold system that we've got here. So we've got a series of splitters set up that are then feeding into these assemblers. I have 4 assemblers all lined up here. They're getting a feed of the plastic. And then the excess plastic is shooting out and beyond. We'll deal with that in a bit. Secondly, I have a copper plating. Let me run over this way. I have copper plating coming in from this far side. I don't really have a lot of room here to be able to maneuver around, so I'm actually going to expand out this floor here real quick so that we can actually see what's happening. So bear with me here while I go and I put out some floor out this way and out this way so that we can move around out here again, because I mean I've got conveyors twisting and turning around here really like you wouldn't believe. Like it's getting to be a little bit of a rat's nest and almost difficult to kind of keep track of where everything is going. So just had an autosave coming in there. That's why we had a little bit of a lag blip, is because of autosaves. But anyhow, our plastic feed is coming down here. It's feeding into this manifold system we have set up here, and the excess plastic is taken off that way. And then we have our copper sheeting feeding in along here. It's exporting out of the storage container we have over there. It runs along and it's running into this manifold system back the other way. And it's all going into these 4 assemblers. These 4 assemblers are set up to make circuit boards. Each one of these assemblers is making 7.5 circuit boards per minute. So that means we're basically making about 30 circuit boards per minute with the 4 that we have set up here. And then coming out on this side, they're all loaded into a merger manifold that's out here. And they're all getting fired up and heading on these conveyors. Okay, let's have a look at this mess of conveyors we have over here. So I've got conveyors coming from everywhere. I've got a series of screws coming up from the bottom. They're getting pulled out. They're running this way and feeding down here. We've got our copper cabling coming down here. We've got our plastic coming down this way. So 3 lines are coming in from this side. That's bringing our circuit boards, our screws, and actually all 4 lines are coming from there. We've got cabling and we've got plastic. And what is this all loading into? That's all loading into computer manufacturing. This requires 25 circuit boards per minute. Well, we're doing 30, so we're 5 over. At some point, I'll build some kind of an overflow system so that the excess are going into storage. But for now, I just wanted to get it up and running. So we have our circuit boards coming over here. We have plenty of cabling coming in because we only need 22.5, and we just threw in a splitter on this line that's going over and making the smart, I think it's automated wiring over here. It's this here. Yes, automated wired. That is requiring these cables, but it doesn't need all of them. So we're pulling 22.5 per minute into this manufacturer. We got plastic coming over here at 45 items per minute. Not a worry, because I'm pretty sure we're only using, if I look on these assemblers, these are taking 30, so 60. We're taking 120 out of here, and I'm pulling, well, more than that out of there. Eventually, we will run out of plastic. I might have to up our refinery, but I had enough in storage right now that I'm not overly worried about, but we can check on that at some other point once the system starts to lag out a little bit. But that's got our plastic coming in here. And then, of course, we've got screws that are kind of all weaving their way through and loading into here. This is making our computers. A whole 2.5 computers per minute. And they're getting stored in here. We've made a total of 16 of them since I turned everything on. It's an unbelievable amount of work that was made to get it so that we had enough circuits coming over here and that we're feeding everything else in. Now, let's have a look at our plastic situation, because I know that that's going to become problematic. After a bunch of finagling, I did make the jump up here, and we did get up to the surface here. So how much plastic are we actually manufacturing out of this? We're getting 20 out of here, 20 out of here, and our total needs are what, 120 plus, what did it say we needed on this manufacturer? Like, we're already well short just off of the circuit boards, and 45. Wow, we need 165 and we're only making 40 right now. So I am seriously going to end up having to step up the refineries. Now it's time to step out some milestones, because I think now we might actually have everything manufacturing. Maybe not everything, but we're going to have a quick look here. We're going to run up and double check on these milestones. I'm starting to get the hang of moving around, I'll tell you, in this game. It's getting a lot easier for sure, but let's have a look at our milestones. So this year, computers are manufacturing. Only need 100 of them. I'm at, what did we see, like 25-ish when we left there? So that's going to get us expanded power. Jetpacks. So the only thing we're not manufacturing right now out of this is the fuel canisters. So packaged fuel. So we'll have to figure out how to do that. And, of course, we need computers here. So total 150 computers. And once those are done, we'll be able to turn in the first 2. And then jetpacks. That's our next thing, our next manufacturing process that we've got to dive into. Packaged fuel. Now, packaged fuel is going to require some containers. I can see that already in my near future. And I'm going to guess that's probably a constructor. If we look at a constructor here, let's see what it says. An empty container here, and it requires 2 plastic. So we already need to seriously ramp up our refinery situation up here. So I think it's time for a refinery redesign. And there's no better time than right now to be able to get that stepped out. So I'm going to do a complete rebuild of our refinery system so that we're making some serious plastic. Okay, regarding the plastic situation that we ran into down in our assembly down here for being able to make the computers and also manufacture our circuit boards that we needed, plastic was kind of a concern. So if we run down here right now, we've got a steady stream of plastic rolling through here. We've got plastic all loading in here. And everything seems to be keeping up relatively well. And that's because we kind of did a thing. And that thing is, if we look up top here, once I get to a spot where we can jump up and have a better look at what's going on here. Hey, leap! I did not make that jump. That jump was like the worst jump in the world. I have upgraded the refinery situation. There are now 8 refineries that are making plastic and 2 refineries that are dealing with heavy oil residue. Now let's just sneak up here so we can get a better look around at what's actually happening up here. And can I reach that? I did. I reached that. Okay, so we have the first 8 refineries here are all manufacturing plastic for us. So they are, if we walk over to one of them here and we look at it, they are producing 20 plastic per minute and 10 heavy oil residue per minute. So that gives us 160 plastic per minute coming out of these units and 80 heavy oil residue. We then have this little manufacturing line right here that is, well, I guess it really comes back to this little constructor that's taking a feed of plastic out of here. We're taking a quick little feed of plastic, and this is making empty containers for us. Those empty containers are running over here to this packager, and we are taking the heavy oil residue and refining it into fuel that's then getting packaged. But then we ran into a bit of a snafu because this filled up with packaged fuel, and we had no way of getting rid of all of the extra heavy oil residue that's there. So then, to just try to alleviate that a little bit, I added this little pipe system here, once I jump up back on this again. So this is the line that feeds down here and pumps into this machine to be able to give it our heavy oil residue that's required for being able to make the fuel. And that's all being fed off of, there's a lower pipe that's here. That's this bottom pipe that's coming in. And then the top pipe is just grabbing from these last 2 any of the heavy oil residue, and that's dumping it into this last one here to be able to make petroleum coke. Then once this backed up and it wasn't able to make the fuel containers anymore, the excess was being overflown and dumped into here to be able to make petroleum coke. Now, I really need 2 machines, 2 of these refineries here, to be able to handle the volume potential of the petroleum coke. And I may add that at some point, because right now, this can only handle 40 of the heavy oil residue at any given time. And we have 80 that's getting produced out of these right now. This, when it's running, will take care of 60 of it. So I think what I'll do is I'll probably at some point add another one of these that will just handle that much more of the overflow of our heavy oil residue. So that kind of alleviated our plastic situation. Now, we're not quite 100% because we needed 160 plastic per minute just to do our circuit boards and to do our computers. And we're when adding this line in here, this is taking another, 30 of it. So really, I need 190. But then when this backed up, it really didn't matter anymore because now we've got more plastic than we know what to do with everywhere. Everything is totally handling the plastic situation. We have no worries there now. Of course, with that holdup, we ended up running a little bit short here on the computers. If we look at our computer manufacturing, which is right here, we didn't make as much of this as I was hoping because our plastic situation kind of got broken until I put in that little overflow pipe that's there. So you got to remember with the one thing with the refineries, if you don't get rid of the materials that are coming out of the refinery, the whole system's going to back up on you and you're going to be in a pickle. So now it's a matter of looking to see what we need to be able to turn in our milestones to finish up Tier 6. And I think we still have 3 milestones that we have to take care of. Alrighty, everything is gathered up now. Let's get the first one out of the way. We're selecting the milestone for expanded power infrastructure. And we're throwing in our heavy modular frames. We are throwing in our computers. We're then throwing in our encased industrial beams. And finally, our rubber. And launch away.
Milestone reached. The fuel generator will match power generation to the increased consumption of recently acquired technologies and buildings. Additionally, improved conveyor belts and lifts can now be constructed. Caterium scanning unlocked.
And that is all that we have gathered from Ada. That is now getting launched off. As soon as that arrives, we'll step out the next one. So while waiting for the pod to return, I did go ahead and add in the third heavy oil residue processing refinery here. So we have 2 of these now that are making coal coke, of which the petroleum coke product that's coming out of here, right now we're just dumping it into an awesome sink. But I think what might end up happening with this at some point is I think we're going to take, because these are putting out, how much is it? It's doing 120, and this is doing 120. We might just go and take this 240 items per minute and go run it all the way down to where our coal refineries are that we have set up over here, and add in some more power generation, because if we look at what we're doing right now, power generation is not so hot. We are max consumption right now is 2337 megawatts. Our max production is 2550 megawatts. We're hovering right now around that 1400 mark for usage. And of course it's spiking as things turn on and off and on and off. But this blue line's getting too close to the gray line. So now petroleum coke is not as efficient as coal is, but it's better than it just getting dumped into an awesome sink doing nothing, right? So, and this awesome sink right now is so busy getting caterium ore that it really doesn't know what to do over here, other than if maybe I upgrade this particular conveyor. Oh, I need encased industrial steel beams. Let me run over and grab some of those encased industrial steel beams, which are right here. I'm going to grab a small handful of these, and then we're going to go make our way back up top there. I'm going to upgrade that to a Mark IV conveyor just so that it moves those products faster into the awesome sink. Mark IV? Mark IV conveyor is the 480. Those are the new conveyors that we just unlocked. So if we take this bad boy and we upgrade this, now this is flying along, and this shouldn't be stuttering here anymore. So all 240 of these are going dumped into the awesome sink, which, I mean, great, we're getting coupons for it, but I think this might be more useful to us as power generation. But we could deal with that at another point. We are still 2 minutes away from the pod arriving before our next little turn in, so I will just sit and chill and wait for that to happen, and then we'll get the next one set up. And our pod has returned, so now it's time to step out and move on to our next milestone as soon as it lands here. It does take its time to land, doesn't it? Alright, select milestone jetpacks. Let's do jetpacks next. We might as well do jetpacks next. Let's select this one. We are putting in 50 motors. We're putting in 100 plastic. We're putting in 100 rubber. And we're putting in 50 fuel. Launch away. That's another milestone completed for Tier 6.
R&D inflated your pocket dimension and has provided a jetpack, which operates on oil-based fuel, for increased navigational capabilities as well as odds of survival.
So we ended up getting a few more slots in our inventory, which is fantastic. Let's see what is actually needed to make the jetpack. Jetpack. We need plastic, we need rubber, we need circuit boards, and we need motors. I'm going to grab those. We're going to make the jetpack. Okie dokie, we have gone and grabbed everything that we need for the jetpack. Let us crank one of those bad boys out. Excellent. Now, if we go to our inventory, we can swap out our body component. And, of course, we need to make sure we have packaged fuel with us because that's what it consumes. And just double tap. And now we get the jetpack and oh wow! Does it consume a canister of fuel in a hurry? We need to make sure we have lots of fuel with us. It's kind of neat though to have this ability to be able to coast around, but you know what? I've used 5 canisters of fuel just in this little bit, so that's a lot of fuel. We're going to want to make sure we keep ourselves stocked up on that. We don't want to be losing any of that, but it's going to be making it so much easier to get around my base now. While we're waiting for the pod to return, let's just take a minute and take this in. Considering what we started with only 11 episodes ago, which was the manual little miners sitting on the nodes over there, to what we've expanded to at this point in the game, really, I've got a pile of hours that are in this that are just, it says I'm 236 hours on this world, but I can guarantee you that 60 of those hours have been overnight AFK or sitting during the day AFK, just to kind of stockpile some materials. So really, I want to say we're only 140 hours of gameplay in this. And we have really got quite the setup here. From normal products, we've got our smelters and our constructors, and then we move up to assemblers, and then we move up into, it is amazing. Our refineries are over there, our steel production, and then we get our foundries are over there, and then we have our manufacturing units. It truly is amazing what this game brings to the table, and why it's so rewarding is the fact that you do get to see actual progress in everything that you're building. So shouldn't be too much longer here before Ada returns and we can get the next batch of research completed. Oh, speak of the devil, it just arrived. It's landing as we speak. That means we have just a matter of seconds here before we can go and turn this in, and it is landed. All right. Next, Monorail Technology, Train Technology. Let's select this milestone. We've got computers, we got heavy modular frames, we've got a lot of beams, and we've got even more pipe. And launch!
Milestone reached. A new set of buildings and vehicles needed for long-range transportation has been made available. In addition to built-in power conduction, rails-based transit ensures increased efficiency and reliability for both the transport of pioneers and cargo.
That concludes our Tier 6 milestones. Guess what? Tier 7's locked. Tier 8 locked. And it's locked behind Space Elevator Phase 3. Space Elevator Phase 3 is going to require a bunch of manufacturing that we are not doing yet. So that's what we get to look forward to in the next episode. Let's do a quick recap here. We stepped up our plastic. We've got plastic manufacturing coming out the yin yang. We kind of disabled the rubber at the moment until I get some more oil over here, but that's fine. We started producing fuel. We've got fuel happening. We got fuel getting packaged. We got our jetpack We got circuit boards getting made, and we have computers getting built. That's where we made it to in today's episode. I appreciate you guys chilling and hanging out for as long as you have. Reach down, hit that like button on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, ring that notification bell so you can be notified when I have a new video get posted, as well as follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at TerrisDWDC, and feel free to check out the website TerrisDWDC.com for any of the cool merch that we've got up there. I think there's mugs and t-shirts and sweaters. A little too late now to get them by Christmas, but hey, it's never too late for having a Chinese Christmas is coming up, so you can always go that route. So with that said, or Ukrainian Christmas, that's another one too that's later on in the year. So with that said, you guys have yourself a fantastic rest of your day, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.